Would you recommend that youngsters going to college carry a weapon?
Students should be able to carry a concealed carry firearm if they can qualify. That means they would have to be 21 years, so in most states they have to be 21. But we should encourage that group of the population that commits the lowest amount of crime to be armed on the campus, because it's obvious that the police can't be there in time to make anything happen favorably. They get there to bring the body bags and the notepads, and that's no knock on the police. That's simply a fact of life. They're not there when trouble happens.
In the wake of disasters, terrorist attack, Katrina, something, are you fearful of what the authorities will treat, how they will treat us in that instance based on?
Disasters and emergencies are historically opportunities for government to aggrandize, grab power, usurp power, get power illegitimately. After Katrina, the internet made a big difference in what followed. There were at least two news clips that were put out on video over the internet, and Gun Owners of America was able to capture those, and they're still on our website. You can see guns being confiscated from peaceful citizens in the aftermath of Katrina, after the rain, after the water was even subsiding. That what the people were doing was guarding their properties so that they wouldn't be subject to looters coming through vacant homes. And this was so outrageous that to look at it was just to put you on the edge of your chair, to say the least. In Louisiana, a gentleman that hopefully is going to be coming to Congress this year, State Senator, then Representative Steve Scalise, put in a bill making it illegal for law enforcement to grab people's guns unless, like any other circumstance, they were committing some kind of crime that then you would arrest them and take their gun. But if they're walking down the street with their gun, if they're sitting on their front porch with their gun, leave them alone. And when Scalise introduced the bill, the anti-gunners began, this is putting police officers in danger, they've got to have this discretion. And he showed our two video clips on his laptop at a committee meeting, and all the wind went out of the sails of the anti-gunners. It was just too graphic. An even better law passed thanks to Louisiana Senator David Vitter and Representative, now Governor, Bobby Jindal. Their measure, it's now law, federal law, says that any federal law enforcement who grabs somebody's gun during one of these circumstances from a peaceful citizen, yeah, it's illegal, but we're not going to worry about them being prosecuted because we know that's not likely to happen. But they will be open to being sued personally. They will have to defend themselves personally, and if they lose, they will have to pay personally. We think that is an effective way of controlling out-of-control police.
Is this Louisiana law or federal?
This is a U.S. federal law, so that FBI, BATFE agents, well, there's probably 25 agencies that have SWAT teams and gun toters. Any of them that confiscate a gun from a peaceful citizen is opening himself up to a devastating lawsuit that could take everything he owns.
Personal.
It gets real personal.
Can you comment about the looting that went on in the Rodney King aftermath? And I remember some Korean shop owners that protected their property.
The Los Angeles riots that followed the Rodney King episode provide a very quick answer to why would anybody need one of those assault weapons, which are not, but they're actually semi-automatic firearms that function just like many people's hunting guns. There was a picture of Korean merchants standing guard on their properties. And meanwhile, in the next block, everything has been burned down. But where they were, no fire, no looting, everything was under control. Whole mobs took a look at those magazines in those Uzi-type firearms that they were using and decided, wrong block. It's kind of the, in fact, the same message that's been given to members of Gun Owners of America who were subject to attempted carjacking. And usually, when they produced their gun, the victim produced his gun, the assailant just ran off. In one case, the assailant had a gun on our member, and he was able to produce his gun right away. And obviously, the element of surprise was now reversed, and it was a level playing field. And the only thing, this guy actually said something. The assailant said, "Oh, wrong car." Indeed it was.
Okay. What's the greatest threat on the horizon for the right to keep and bear arms?
Well, the greatest threat may well be what's about to happen in June at the Supreme Court. But even if we were to say that's not on the table, let's look at other factors. I think the biggest problem is that Democrats learned in 1994 that going after firearms is politically very risky, and Bill Clinton himself more than once said, "I made a mistake in pushing for the gun ban. That's what cost my party control of the Congress." So the Democrats very quickly began to tone it down and not to say how guns needed to be regulated and banned. They learned a new vocabulary. Republicans seem to be suffering from the Stockholm Syndrome. They had been so long captive by the media that even when the Democrats changed their rhetoric and the media began to cooperate, no more crusades against guns, the Republicans still thought they were being held hostage to a hostile media. And as a result, they never pushed to get rid of gun control. They never forced the Democrats to vote on rolling back gun control, which I think the Democrats, enough of them would have, that these measures would have passed the Congress, and the others that didn't would have been suitably targeted politically for removal. And the Republicans lost an historic opportunity because they were behaving as if they were still held captive by their captors.